Why do you support Trump?
I support Trump because I do not support Kamala Harris. If that was the option, it would be Trump. Had there maybe be a better option, I might go with it. But for Kamala and anyone who's running currently, I'm going with Trump.
Okay, so why do you think that Kamala is worse than Trump?
Well, as a black person, and I'm talking to many of the black people out there, there's some things she stands for, and some parts of the entertainment industry she utilizes into her campaign that I feel like is one of the reasons why black people as a whole been held back for generations. I know you might say that that's a far reach, but let me explain momentarily. Like her utilizing figures like Cardi B, um, uh, artists from the group the Migos, and other people in that stratosphere. Those people should never on earth be next to the president. Let me tell you why. Cardi, not to say that those people shouldn't be able to do what they want to do and live those lives, but when we talk about standing next to the president of the United States in front of millions and millions of kids, Cardi B, a known dancer, and who spoke about robbing men, Quavo, who till this day is getting his family member and friends killed over his gang affiliations and illegal activities. These people are all in cahoots and somehow and are used in Democratic campaigns. And for black people, for those figures to steadily be put in major forms of public eyes is completely and destroying the black community. These black kids are realizing, hey, I can rob people, I can dance. Female children, girls realize I can dance from a certain away in age. Are you putting Nicki Minaj up there? Do you want to show me? Do you want me to show me anyone other than Nicki Minaj and anyone
Yeah,
other than Nicki Minaj, or just Nicki Minaj?
yeah, I can give you plenty of others. Um, do you, like? I mean, the point that I would make is that I mean, you have Trump affiliated with Epstein, my guy. You have like if you want to talk about affiliations, um,
For sure.
maybe
But we're
maybe
talking
maybe
about.
you should start there. What about Diddy? What about Diddy? Trump said that Diddy is a terrific guy. He's a great guy, and then he's going to stand up for Diddy.
He did not say that he was going to stand up for Diddy. He said he was going to review the case.
You want to hear? You want to hear him say that?
That he was going to stand up for Diddy.
Yeah.
I hope you're just not going to take it out of context and play a 6 second clip.
Wait, take it out of context. Did he say that? Yes or no?
I'm asking you, in what aspects was he referring to?
He was saying that Diddy's a great guy. He thinks he's a good friend, and that he's going to stand up for Diddy because he thinks that he's a good guy. That's what he was saying.
In what aspects?
What? That he was saying that because he
What
thinks
was
he's
the
a good guy.
context in which he was responding to?
Because someone talked about how they worked for Diddy. He's like, "Oh, Diddy's a great guy. Is he a great guy?" She's like, "I don't want to comment." And he's like, "He's a great guy. I'm gonna stand up for Diddy."
So if he has no idea before that point if Diddy has actually, if he was guilty or not of committing crimes, and he had done business deals with Diddy that had nothing to do with Diddy's illegal activity, then how would he be exposed to that side of Diddy? That's what I'm saying about you taking things out of context.
Okay, wait. So
but rather, I thought the
take
question
things
was
out of context.
why I didn't want
Okay,
to.
so what about that with Epstein?
With Epstein, and this is what I'm going to tell you about with Epstein. The reason why I hate arguing that major fact in these type of conversations is because Epstein is not only associated with the Republicans, but he's also associated with the Democrats. And not only that, because and in this conversation, I was talking about them using these figures in mass media ways. They don't use Epstein in that way. Yes, he is it's dirty laundry, of course. Yes, he is. But they don't use him in that way. So if you can bring other people like Quavo, who's constantly rapping about murder and pillaging, besides, I guess, Kodak Black, if you probably, I give you one, I knew you probably didn't have one. You got to do your research. I'm free-handed, by the way. This is all off the noggin. There's not a computer in front of me. I'm just giving you this information. But regardless of the fact that Dems has a history of utilizing a history way more than the Republicans of utilizing horrible horrible, horrible people. First of all, I just wanted to let you know I won a debate against Dean, and Dean would never, never wants to debate me ever since I won one debate with him. He cut me my bad, cut me the heck off, and then never want me to talk again. I got you stopped talking for at least 30 seconds, so I forgot about myself. But regardless, those are my small points why I don't support the Democrats in general. Kamala Harris is still running with the same spiel the Democrats have been running with. And that's why I will always, up until this point, choose Donald Trump, because yes, he has dirty laundry, as do all parties, as do all portions of the government. But when it comes to the stubble down, he's more for right. Hey, I don't want people senselessly doing senseless violence all the time, so we're down on this. Hey, there's been, I'm Black. Like I said, most of my family are able, Black people, I apologize for putting this on blast, but most of my family are able-bodied people and able to work.
I'm sorry, can I respond at any point?
No problem at all. No problem. Go ahead, Parker.
So I can show you Trump with Putin. I can show you Trump with Kanye. I can show you Trump with Nick Fuentes. I can show you Trump with Lil Pump. I can show you Trump with Aiden Ross. I can show you Trump with Andrew Tate. Do you want me to keep going? Like, how many more examples do I need to provide with people? Like, these are real media campaigns that existed on a large scale. All of those are media campaigns that existed.
If I can respond to that, would you like to do the comparison to the Democrats though? In general,
or to Kamala Harris? You're the one who brought up this affiliation argument.
For sure. I'm responding to the names you got. Since we are responding to those facts, would we like to do a comparison? Sorry, I have a small stuttering problem. Small only when I get a little excited. I've been waiting for this video. This chat. But like I said, we should do an actual list. The horrible people the Dems have had versus the horrible people.
Isn't that just that's just not, like, you can't just use this argument against Kamala Harris. If it's something that exists on both sides, you can't use the argument against Kamala Harris.
No. The argument that I'm using against Kamala Harris is because I am a Black person, and the Dems use urban and cultural appropriating figures to sway the votes of the urban communities. Because
what culturally appropriating figures?
Let me finish 1 second.
I just want to clarify what culturally appropriating figures.
Bro, maybe it be now this is hypothetical. I'm not literally saying him, but maybe it be a Post Malone, maybe it be a whoever. Like I said, that is a hypothetical, not literally Post Malone, Parker. I literally said that before making that statement.
So wait, just name who? Name one specific person.
Quavo from the Migos, or anyone from that
How is he culturally appropriating?
Little Durk.
How is Quavo culturally appropriating?
No, you mean culturally appropriating? All right, I guess if you want me to look up some.
I'm just asking. Like, these are the people.
Parker. This is Parker. This is the reason why I can't, Parker. I'm not in front of my PC. I'm usually am, Parker. I'm not. I don't have the type ability to look up my references offhand right now. But we for sure know. Now, if you want to sit here and act like you don't know,
do you want to act like
fine.
Do you think that there are any people like this that Trump relies upon for support, or Trump used for support?
Relies? Do he
relies
and
used for support? Yeah.
Does he rely as in it's mandatory that he does? Nah, I don't believe so.
Sorry,
not
that he
rely.
Used for support. How about that he used for support?
Now that if you're saying that used for support, that's different. But relies.
Yeah, so used. So hold up, used.
So if you're saying used, and I agree there are some, but that's not what I'm saying, sir. I'm saying on a more often than sometimes basis, the Dems are utilizing urban. Listen, and when you cut me off, that's what I was going into saying. Me and a lot of the people where I'm from, they don't know anything about politics at all. They haven't read up on politics at all. A lot of them don't vote, but a lot of them do vote. And guess who they vote for? Whoever Shaquille O'Neal says vote for it. You know why? Because they've been following that man his whole entire life, point blank, and if he says vote for this person, they are going to vote for this person. The same with Little Dirks, the same with Nicki Minaj, which is the Republicans are finally learning this year that they have to use, because the Democrats have been doing it for so long. The last 2 or 3 terms, the Republicans are maybe starting to get on that side just because they feel like they have to, because the media is used against them in such a major way. But more so on the Democrat side of things, the reason why I do not like the Dems as of this point is purely because they're utilizing those urban figures on such a main and such a steady, a consistent pace that is destroying
What
the black
consistent
community.
pace? What consistent pace?
All the time they are using
I don't think it
hip-hop
was
figures.
everywhere that they went.
You said what?
I don't think it was everywhere they went. I think it was
I know
similar
you're,
to how
you're literally trying
I
to be
think
literal.
both sides
I know
I
they
think
go to
both
sleep.
sides of the
Parker,
political.
I know that they go to
finish or
sleep
speak
sometimes,
at all?
Parker. I know that they use the bathroom sometimes, Parker. They go to the grocery store. They go home and stuff, Parker. Yes, I understand that, Parker. But at the end of the day is going to end, bro. And that's why me and a lot of black people are turning far, far away from the Dems because we
Can I
don't
finish
like the
and
hip
speak?
hop music anymore. For sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm trying to say I understand, but the point that I was making is in politics. It's not just out like I'm not talking about like she does typical daily tasks and she's not doing it during those typical daily tasks. I mean like while she's campaigning. Now you're talking about like people specifically who are celebrities. Like now the Democrats and the Republicans will work with celebrities, and that happens across the board. We can bring up plenty of individuals the
We're
Republicans
not
worked
just
with.
talking about celebrities. We're talking about the Democrats utilizing people who more often than sometimes are to pull that black vote are using those people who should never be put on the mainstream platform with any presidential
I
campaign.
could say the same thing with Trump. What about
I
what about
understand what
Andrew
you're
Tate?
saying, but
What about
listen,
Andrew Tate? Is that just completely okay that he's just going to be up with Andrew Tate?
Are you saying Andrew Tate? His presence is more even on the same sphere as potent in destruction as the Migos have been. They rap nothing about.
I would argue that
cocaine.
Andrew Tate has been more destructive.
What?
Yes,
Are you
because
insane?
I'm sorry. Do you realize how many men
Gang culture.
Hold on,
drug culture.
Can I please address this?
Fraud culture.
Can I please address this? So Andrew Tate, right, has absolutely, right, completely changed the way that young boys have been engaging with politics. You understand that, right? He radicalized right wing and sent them down an alt-right pipeline for a lot of young men, right?
We're talking about going down the wrong road versus.
Wait, let me please finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait. That's what you're saying. You're saying the Migos acting in a certain way leads people down the wrong road.
No.
I think
That's
that
not what
obviously
I'm saying.
Andrew Tate was seen by significantly more people, right? Was seen in a part of the conversation with significantly more people when it comes to the amount of influence that he would have had over in terms of an ideological opinion compared to someone who makes music. I understand people over music can have impact over the way that people view things, but I don't think that it's as large as the impact that we've seen with Andrew Tate. Now, and that's in a negative context. Tate is way more over negative context. The entire manosphere is a byproduct of Tate's content. You know that, right?
What? For sure. But because Migos use sniff cane and lean and popping yerks, I know like 100, not like 50 to 100 people that have died for those causes, sir. I have literally, because of Migos music and everyone associated with those people, I've witnessed someone die at that. First of all, I don't know if you know Georgiana, but I am in the studio of her hometown, the one who made all of her lit music, the Glorilla song and whatnot. But regardless, in that studio, because of all this rapping and pillaging, I watched two cousins and one brother all kill each other within 5 feet of each other. They were all family, blood related. You can look up.
So you think if the Migos didn't exist,
no,
that wouldn't have happened?
we're not talking about just the Migos. Please don't be condescending, Parker.
I'm just trying to understand. That's not condescending for me to ask a question.
No, right? I'm saying because the idolization of gang culture, the idolization of drugs.
Yeah, but like, do you think that Andrew Tate perpetuates culture?
Culture?
Yeah.
Listen, Parker. Which one you think is worse? Is worse than?
Yeah, but
Parker,
I would say that
man, you're a Dem.
Yeah, I would say that culture is more prevalent than
person.
Can I finish? Can I finish without you just cutting me off every single time I speak?
I'm sorry, Parker.
I'm trying to be respectful. I would love to have that same type of respect.
For sure. So, I know, Parker. I know. Go ahead.
So let me explain my position. Okay, so rape culture is significantly more prevalent. Okay, there are significantly more people affected by rape than there are people affected by murder in the United States. It's not even close. You can't even make a comparison. The whole argument that we're going to, and also, even so, you think they're morally similar in each individual circumstance where it happens. Absolutely, I think rape culture is more of a prevalent issue within our culture and leads to significantly more people dying, significantly more people taking their life, significantly more people being traumatized, having mass suffering, and literally going through torture. Like, do you understand that that's straight up torture and suffering caused to people in countless circumstances that is perpetuated by the idea of rape culture continually within our society that impacts tens of millions of people? Does not impact tens of millions of people in the United States every single year. Do you understand the distinction?
What? Doesn't impact tens of millions of people? If one person dies in a family, hundreds and hundreds of people, if that family has hundreds of people are affected.
And you can say the same thing, and you can say the same thing about
Parker,
that.
No, Parker, no. Murder is worse than rape, Parker, all day, all night. Period, point blank. Period, Parker. Murder is worse than rape. A dead person on the floor, lifeless, anything he could or would have been, is completely more horrible than a rape person with the chance of getting better, the chances of therapy, the chance of maybe not getting better as well. But a dead person, Parker? Have we lost all senses of life? What is going on over there with them? That's why I'm not over there, Parker. A life,
it's
a human
ridiculous
life.
To say that you disagree with me on a personal basis, therefore you're not a Democrat.
This is
like ridiculous.
From a person who's pro-choice, by the way.
Also, by the way, let me address this. So you can disagree with me on this and still think that it's more of a prevalent issue in terms of rape culture within our society, because it happens to a significantly greater extent within our society. And also, by the way, our president is a racist and you support him.
And Joe Biden has those.
Oh,
same
don't even do a what about Biden. Answer the fucking question. You supported Trump over Harris.
Yes.
You supported Trump over Harris. Don't even do a what about Biden. I don't even want to hear that.
I'm not saying Trump is a rapist, but I agree that Trump has been charged with the same things as Biden has.
No, he hasn't. Biden is not. Has Biden been held civilly liable of abusing a woman?
You still support Kamala, brother.
Has Biden been held civilly liable of abusing a woman?
What'd you say, bro?
Has Biden been held civilly liable unanimously amongst a jury of 9 people for forcefully penetrating a woman's against her will?
So we're playing semantics. Has he ever been charged with a crime?
No, he hasn't
in
been
civil
charged.
Court, or has anyone ever made allegations in any way?
Yeah, has been accused. Yes, by Tara Reid, who specifically perjured
so
herself in court and then fled to Russia.
Who's been accused? Listen,
I'm not just referencing.
We can just get off the sexual assault anytime.
I'm referencing he was held civilly liable. Listen. I'm referencing he was held civilly liable. And by the way, the last candidate was Kamala Harris.
First of all, no, I'm not going to say that girls, whoever it is, who he sold it, is not true just because it wasn't proven in court. Unfortunately, the way you Dems do it, I'm not going to do that, bro. I'm not going to do that.
Wait, so do you believe
if
Eugene
he
Carroll?
has allegations, I'm going to say that he may have done it. Period.
Watch this. Do you believe Eugene Carroll?
Do I believe Eugene Carroll? I don't not believe her. I don't not believe her.
Okay. Do you believe the 27 people that accused Donald Trump of misconduct?
I'm not saying that I don't believe any of that.
The minor that credibly accused Donald Trump of abusing her after being trafficked to him by Jeffrey Epstein?
Like I just said, Dean, I'm not saying that I do not believe anything. I'm telling you that in the fear of politics, unfortunately, because the Democrats and the Republicans are both guilty of things of any nature, I do not argue that fact. It is pointless. You're just doing that to denounce Trump.
Is Kamala Harris guilty of any crime?
Is she associated with anyone who is?
That's a dishonest thing. So do you think it's worse to be...
So I can associate with my... You're saying that I'm wrong for associating myself with...
Can you just engage with my points? It's really frustrating, right? Do you think it's worse to assault someone or to be a part of an administration where you believe someone assaulted another person? Which, by the way, I don't think you believe Tara Reid. So I just think I think you're lying.
So you're saying she's a liar?
She perjured herself in court. Yes, we can prove that she lied.
So you're saying that she's a liar?
Yes, she perjured herself in court.
So you're saying out of all those 27 people, there's not one person who might be a liar?
Oh, there could possibly be a person that's a liar, but I would say that
so why are we sitting here arguing that fact? Let's get on the back of the things that are destroying the community.
Holy listen to me right now, please. I'm trying to respond. Man. You asked me a question, let me respond. Please, do I need to mute you every single... You asked me a question, I'm going to respond, okay? Please, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, I can't even. So could there possibly be someone that was lying? Yes, but even if one person is telling the truth, that's enough to say that you don't support him, okay? So do you think every single one of them is lying? The 27 people that accused Donald Trump of misconduct. Unmute yourself. Click the microphone in the bottom right.
If you mute me, why don't you unmute me, brother? But like I just said, I'm not saying any, for the 50th time, I'm not saying any of those people are wrong in their accusations. I'm telling you, when it comes to the fear of politics, it is riddled with assaults on the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So arguing that fact while we're sitting here debating on the things that's destroying the society as it stands today is pointless. That's what I'm telling you, Parker. Is there any way that you're not understanding that, Parker?
It's not pointless.
Can we get back on the things that are destroying the community, like the fact that
Can I respond? Are you asking me? Is that a question for me to respond to, or is that just a rhetorical question? Was that a rhetorical question or a question for me to respond to?
Go ahead and respond if you would like to, Parker. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I think it is important to talk about. I think this is relevant, and I think that you can't just say, "Oh, it exists on the Democratic side," because we're talking about Kamala Harris being the last candidate. She did not abuse anyone. Acting like it's the same is ridiculous. And by the way, I think you're doing rape apology when you sit there and you act like it's not a big deal. The president of the United States is raping people. Okay? We're talking about children. We're talking about like Eugene Carroll. We're talking about 27 people that have accused him of misconduct. That's a pattern of behavior. To try to compare that to specifically even Joe Biden, or to try to say that Kamala Harris is literally going to hold that anywhere near the same level of responsibility is dishonest. It's bullshit, and it demeans the violence targeted against people of violence, the people that are victims of violence.
I'm not saying in any way or demeaning any of those people's cases. I'm purely saying what I said before. This is the issue I have with you arguing yourself. So not to say diminish the I'm gonna stop saying that word, but what we're talking about, not to diminish that or those people. What I'm saying is, when I bring up the fact that the Dems love to the reason you asked me the reason why I don't support why I will never support Kamala Harris, I tell you it's because, hey, they're doing all this gang culture. It's killing the communities. There's way more of that support coming from the Democratic Party than it's the Republican. And you don't respond to any of that stuff, or you argue.
I directly respond to that. Don't be dishonest. I respond to that
No. You directly respond to it, and in your response, you pivot to the so as a defense and force me to defend myself against that. When I'm not talking about the so I'm talking about the pillaging of the community, of the urban communities.
Which I address. I give countless examples of Trump with Lil Pump. I can't give countless examples of him with Kid Rock. I give countless examples of him specifically. We can reference Aiden Ross, Nicki Minaj. We can reference him specifically with Andrew Tate. We can reference him with plenty of individuals like Epstein, right? Individuals specifically that you think and agree with have done horrible, atrocious things. We can reference Kanye. We can reference him with Nick Fuentes. We can reference him with Diddy. We can reference him with Jake Paul. We can reference him pardoning Kodak.
Unfortunately, I can agree with you only some of the way, due to the fact, as I said, if we put a list, not Nick, I know the guy with black hair who always wears a suit, not Nick, not Andrew Tate. I'm talking about things that directly affect the urban community. When we're talking about putting a list of those people next to each other, the Democrats list is going to be insane.
I have a question.
If you have the time, you looked everything else up.
Hold on.
Please look that up.
I have a question. Do you think that Donald Trump's administration is better for black people?
See, that's
your argument?
That's a wild question that I'm just going to ignore. I feel like it's better for me because I'm a human, not because I'm black. And the things that the Dems.
Sorry, I thought that's what the argument you were trying to oppose.
No. I feel like it's better because I'm human, not because I'm black. Okay, not at all because I'm black.
Okay, so then overall, how is he better for humans?
For me, my personal preference is like he's been doing with food assistance. He's about to put on. He was trying to.
He's better with food assistance. You mean cutting food assistance?
Yes. If you let me explain and stop cutting me off, I'll let you know exactly what I'm talking about. Give me a second. First of all, chat. You see how he's hitting his head? Let me know. Let me let you guys something. Let you guys know something that Parker could never understand. Being a 20 or around age white male, sir. Donald Trump is talking about putting people from Section 8 to food assistance, giving people a limited amount of time to be on there before they're kicked off. I know how horrible it must sound to people like you, but the people like me who have sat and watched my family and my loved ones who I love dearly, my community, utilize and abuse these systems for years is almost an eye-awakening experience. Let me tell you why. Someone who has now been using Section 8 as a crutch, when you have Section 8, you cannot make a certain amount or your rent goes up, period. So unfortunately, the urban communities utilize that fact, do not make over a certain amount so that they don't lose their home. You start making more than a basic server, and now all of a sudden you have to pay an extra $1,200 a month bill. So they purposely don't.
Hey, dude.
Please
Trump
let me
didn't
finish.
touch Section 8.
For sure, but there was he didn't, not yet, but I'm pretty sure there was things imposed.
No, there wasn't. So can I address the food assistance and healthcare, like, because what you said is not a limited amount of time. That's not what it is at all.
If you so let me know exactly what it is. After you done typed and looked up the verbatim thing, go ahead.
Dude, I've talked about this millions of times, right, on the stream.
For sure.
I did not have to look it up. The only thing, what I typed down was notes so that I didn't have to end up cutting you off, but you just said so many lies where inevitably it made sense.
You cut me off anyways, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just explained that. So the cutting of the food assistance specifically is in situations where people didn't meet the quote-unquote work requirements. Okay, so they extended and made it harder to meet the work requirements to cut people off their access to food stamps and health insurance through Medicaid. So 10 million people cut off their access to health insurance. The context of the big beautiful bill through Medicaid. 2.5 million people on average every single month cut off their access to food stamps, and over 420,000 kids off their access to free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month. Do you think those children deserve to lose their food access?
See, what you're doing is saying that because someone is an able-bodied worker and they have children, because they will not be getting food assistance because they've been using it as a crutch this whole time. I understand completely what you're saying, Parker, but unfortunately, you have to go through some trouble before you get to the good, Parker. Just like your family did, maybe, who's not on food assistance. One day they didn't have it, and they made it a way to get it. But if someone keeps giving you it, you'll never find a way to get it. And that's why the Section 8s there's some white people in Section 8 for sure, but they're riddled with minorities, because these people don't understand that this is more of a crutch than it is helping you in any way, shape, or form. Point blank, period. So when we talk about food assistance, that's one of the major reasons why I'm more Republican leaning than anything, period, because I feel like that's going to extremely benefit us, pushing people forward. Go ahead, Parker.
Do you think cutting food assistance reduces poverty?
And see, when you're talking about cutting food assistance, it makes it sound horrible. So when we're talking about it's not cutting because it's not getting completely cut. So we're talking about reducing food assistance. Yeah, yes, I think reducing food assistance, yes, Parker, is beneficial. Not reducing it for everyone, reducing it for able-bodied working people. Yes, it's beneficial in the long run. Yes, I do.
So do you have any evidence that cutting food assistance for those individuals, do you have any evidence that reduces poverty?
How do we have evidence until it happens and we can have data?
Well, we actually have data the other ways, that it actually increases poverty for us to do that, and it decreases poverty for us to impose these systems in the first place. How do we know this? Because we imposed them in the first place, and then we saw that decrease poverty. So you said it was just for able-bodied workers. What you're not understanding is there are plenty of individuals that are not yet qualified for disability, that do have disabilities, and while they're trying to qualify for disability, do rely on these programs in order to be able to ensure that they have adequate access to the things they need. This ensures everyone... Let me please finish. This ensures everyone within our society has adequate access to the resources that they need, adequate access to be able to live, and that they're treated with basic dignity. Okay? This is literally the most basic form of dignity that we can provide for a person, because it's a basic bare minimum. Can we still have social mobility and investments to make people have better lives and to allow people to...
Can I respond to that, Parker?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, can you please repeat the beginning if you don't mind? I asked you to let me respond before you rambled off, Parker. You refused to let me. It's okay. I remember, Parker. At the very beginning of that sentence, you said a person who is applying for disability. It sounds like, Parker, that's not an able-bodied worker. Now, if you're asking me, do I think there should be avenues to where those people who are in that gray area should have an avenue to get? Yes, Parker, I do. But that's still a disabled person, Parker, and not an able-bodied working person, which is why I was trying to stop you before you rambled, because it was pointless. But respond, please.
Yeah, the point is that this policy still impacts people who are disabled. Is the point I was making, and you just didn't realize it. That's the point I was making.
No. That wasn't your point. I was letting you know
It's
the
so fun
reasons
having to
why
repeat myself over and over again. I just really love doing this. It's so great. Like, it's
How
just like
about
when
we
people
not
don't
start
listen to my
arguing,
basic
pointlessly
sentences.
arguing, and keep the debate, Parker? Not because just because you're getting a little frustrated that it's starting to lean my way. That's what Dean did. But like I said, if you would like to respond to that, Parker, I guess you would be responding to the first thing that I said because, like I said, you said a disabled person, and we're talking about able-bodied people. So, like I said, one of the reasons why I'm more Republican leaning these days is because those stipulations that are coming for the food assistance. Yes, I understand some people will be unfortunately impacted. I'm praying that they can find avenues to maneuver through to where they'll be okay if they fall under those criteria. But when with them minimizing things like food assistance, they're on a right path of taking those crutches away from the urban community. So we understand that we have to go out here and be productive members of society. Things are not just going to be given to us, and we can just go out here and pillage and think that everything's going to be okay. No, we have to work. We have to contribute, and not just basic needs. No, our children deserve more. Our children deserve more than Section 8, than the projects, than let's did these rappers pretend lies that they keep pushing on us. Our kids deserve more. And those reasons is why I can never vote for Kamala. She's pushing against everything that I just said. She's using from the food assistance thing. The Dems, from when the Dems held food assistance back from America during the shutdown and then blamed it on Trump. That was horrible. You know what I mean? And then you guys sit here and argue food assistance, but during the government shutdown, if you guys would have just compromised, not for you guys, for the American people, then food assistance would first. And I have 5 kids. I was affected by that. Period. I was affected by that. Regardless of the fact, they blamed it on Trump, even though it was because they wouldn't move from their position. And now for a Democrat to be sitting here arguing with me over food assistance is kind of, ironic.
Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said that
No. I'm not on food assistance chat, but the mother of my kids is. Yes. 5 kids. We're not currently together. You know how that goes. Unfortunately, it's probably due to the Migos. That was a joke, Parker. Don't run off with that. That was a joke, Parker. I
can you just
can't
let me
joke.
speak?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said that the shutdown specifically was because the fact that Donald Trump was trying to prevent a vote on the Epstein files and not specifically on not like the fact that the Democrats and Republicans couldn't come together and actually get a vote done regardless of that.
So you're
So
sure it
that's actually
wasn't
one thing.
because
Can I please address all of these points? Plus, I
for
think
sure,
that
Dean.
democratic policy allows for more social mobility. These policies being in place does inevitably lead to less people being in poverty and more people having social mobility in the future. It is something that people should be able to rely upon if they can't provide it for themselves, because everyone, because of the fact that they're a person, deserves this, right? So I think that should be given to everyone in our society, regardless. And then we can also build on top of that. There's not a lack of social mobility because we establish a baseline for everyone. And then if any program specifically limits you from making more money, right, and still being able to have lower rent, well, then I think that we should obviously impose a policy where it's going to be the same, you're going to keep that reduced costs, right, even though you are going to make more money, so that you have the incentive to make more money. There are plenty of thresholds that we can put in place to be able to do that in the very first place. I see no issue with us being able to do that.
Being able to do and currently doing is two different things. But you literally listed like 10 things, and now I have to pick, I guess, which one to respond to.
Did
But
you
I'm gonna
not
go
list
back
multiple
all the
things and I was responding to the things
one
that you
one
brought up?
1 second. No, you cut me off. You put your hand up. You make me stop talking and force me to respond to whatever you want to respond to at that time. But that's completely fine. I understand the leverage in this conversation. Completely fine with me. Regardless, like I said, as far as the government shutdown, you're sure it wasn't because the Democrats was trying to fight to get more money to house undocumented immigrants? You sure that's not?
No, that was not happening at
Well,
all.
100%.
Nope. Democrats never fought for housing for undocumented immigrants on a federal
Housing,
standpoint.
housing.
And also the shutdown
Sorry.
was specifically because Marjorie
I,
Taylor Greene indicated
I have to be
that it was
careful with
because
my
Trump
wording,
didn't
Dean.
want the
I
vote
didn't
on the
mean to say
Epstein
housing,
files.
Dean. I'm not Dean. Parker. I didn't mean to say housing, Parker. What I mean was just was trying to get funding for their well-being. We're trying to get a surplus of money to cover the undocumented immigrants at the time. I'm pretty sure that was one of the big
Nope.
points that they were arguing during the shutdown.
Nope.
But that's also one of the reasons why, I guess, if you want to debate something else, that's one of the major reasons why I support the Republicans as well.
Then you're
They're more
about the source.
Huh?
You said, wait, sorry, you were going to say something on top of that. I thought you were saying because of the prior
No,
statement.
no. I was not saying because of that. I was saying it was because the Republicans seem more interested, not considered in the Iran war, are more interested in the well-being of the American people than the Dems are. The Dems like to focus a lot on undocumented people who aren't even U.S. citizens, bringing more people in. When I walk out my door and see a plethora of evil, brokenness, yet these people are more worried about getting people who aren't here lives started here and not building on the people's lives who are affected by everything every day in America. One of the big things, I couldn't believe how hard they were going for the undocumented when there's so much things that go wrong with America. Due to the fact that the Dems have so much to say about ICE, when there's so much killing of black minorities every single year, so much beating and brutality, and for some reason the Dems want to focus on ICE as if they're not just another policing agency, make it like it's okay to interfere.
You think
with
Trump's
police?
helping with that? You think Trump is literally getting rid of responsibility for police officers and for those federal agents? He's literally removing accountability, whereas Democrats are advocating for more accountability, the advocation that you probably would agree with when it comes to police, which would then you would also want to carry over in terms of
Are you
border
saying that I
enforcement.
would agree with that because I'm black, Parker?
No, it's because of the argument that you were making. What the fuck are you saying?
What argument would lead you to believe that, Parker? Please tell me
You're
immediately.
making an argument that people are disenfranchised by the policing system, so you would obviously advocate to reform that system, correct?
I said that people were just in what by the police?
Are getting disenfranchised by the policing system. That the policing system is inevitably disenfranchising black people in this country. That's the argument you just made.
No. I said minorities in general. In no way am I saying in any way that, first of all, my father, Alton Brumfield, is a cop for 33 years of Gary Police Department in Indiana. I have a strong respect for the police. So don't ever get that twisted.
Then
and guess what, Parker?
You don't want to reform?
Gang member. You hear me, Parker? I'm a gang member. Don't tell my friends.
Do you want to reform the system?
Yes. In the Dems' eyes, and with the Dem views, no.
Okay, what reforms would you want to do?
What I would like, let's say in a perfect world, Parker, in a perfect world, every single police officer would go through an intense screening, an aggression screening, a yada 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 screening, any emotional screenings, and if any officer fails those type of screening, which would depreciate his, actually, hopefully some AI program or something can depreciate if a person is an aggressive person, if a person is this, if a person is that, and only those people should be on the police force. We shouldn't have over-aggressive officers, you know what I mean? But at the same time, we shouldn't have, regardless of what's going on in a situation with a police officer, we shouldn't have the public intervening in any way, shape, or form. I feel like anyone who thinks they got the nuts enough to put themselves in the middle of a gun in a police situation, point blank, the law is the law. If that person or that police officer is doing wrong, the laws in the eyes of the court should do its work. Point blank, period. It is not the job of any U.S. citizen to jump in the middle and put your life at danger, and not only your life, but the people around you. Because a person can get shot that wasn't you, or who the gun was not pointing at. The bullets don't have eyes. So no one should be engaging in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like the Dems are completely and totally wrong for calling out for making the spectacle of ICE as they have, period. And that's one of the strong reasons. And because it was done under Kamala, I'll never, ever should I vote for her.
Okay, Kamala. So in terms of this, there's a few things I want to address. So it did seem like that was the argument you were making. You did advocate for some reforms, so I wasn't incorrect in assigning that analysis because I was just going over the argument you were making. And the fact that you tried to portray it like I was making that argument, I think is incredibly dishonest, right? And incredibly rude, to be honest with you, because in this conversation, I've been incredibly nice to you, and for you to try
First
to
of all, I
portray,
asked you a question. I asked you a
you
question.
tried to
You answered
portray
it.
that
I
I
didn't.
thought that because you were black,
First,
when
when
I
you answered
literally,
it, I
wait,
said
let me
that you're a
finish my
liar.
statement.
Did I call you a liar? I did not speak on it at all. I said, fine. I didn't agree, but I didn't dispute what you said at all. I asked you a serious, that was an honest question. Period. I could see how you could see that from what I was saying, but then I let you know, yo, my father is a cop. I'm just letting you know I do support the police. I didn't say like, hey, you actually were saying that. I asked you a genuine question. So don't act like it was anything other than a genuine question.
Okay, I think it was dishonest. Okay, and
I
that's what I'm
promise you,
saying. So,
on my kids, it wasn't, Parker. You called me off guard and I asked you honestly, period. On my
okay.
children's life. All 5 of them, Parker.
Okay, well, I think you should watch that later because I think that the way that you framed the argument was clearly trying to act like I was in the wrong for doing what I
You
was
said
doing.
it and I responded instantly. Are you saying that because I'm black? Instantly, I responded, Parker. Instantly.
Yeah,
Instantly. I got caught off guard. I thought you were literally saying that because you the way you looked at the screen, but I'm pretty sure you were looking at your text. But look, I thought you looked at me a certain type of way. But you understand what I'm saying? But you kind of were like, I'm pretty sure you would agree with that. And I was like, yo, huh? You know what I mean? It was honest and genuine, Parker. It was honest and genuine.
okay, alrighty. Whatever. Now your whole argument, you're trying to make that we're focusing on documented immigrants, not focusing on the average person. I'm going to show you how that's just complete gibberish. Can you name one policy that Donald Trump has advocated for that helps the average person more than it helps the rich?
I say that the Dems are worried more about minorities. Not currently, it's not so much of a deal, but about 6 months ago, the past year, the Dems were more worried about minorities and undocumented than U.S. citizens. I didn't say that Trump's more worried about this than no. I said the Dems, period. So you're asking me a question that I never said about something I never said. I didn't say Donald Trump anything. I said the Dems focus more on illegals and have been than their own American people. The urban communities are failing in America horribly. Look at Chicago, look at Atlanta, look at Houston, look at Memphis. How are we worried about undocumented immigrants? How are we letting more people in to be exposed to maybe be exposed to this type of stuff when we haven't even cleaned ourselves up yet? That's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has something to do with how the Democrats portrayed themselves. More interested in getting undocumented here and saving the ones that are already here than the American people at the time. And America should always be first. It shouldn't be a time that they get in front of that stand and don't say anything about the American people before some undocumented, not one press conference.
So you still didn't even answer the question. So it's like it's just ridiculous how much I talk to people and they don't listen to anything I'm saying. They don't answer basic questions. Like I'm asking a very direct question and it just will never be answered. Okay? Like why does this happen all day? It happens all day. Just ask questions
You
and I
asked
have to
me
repeat them like
about
6 times in order to be able to get an answer. And it's
you
like
asked me
so
something.
annoying to have to continue to go through that over and over
You
again.
asked me something
I'm going to
about
ask
Trump
you the
that
question one more time. Can you answer? Name a single policy that Donald Trump has influenced to get passed that has benefited the average American more than it's benefited the rich.
I've never. You're giving me a random point now. You're rephrasing your question, one, but the point still stands. That had nothing to do with what we were currently talking about. I said a reference about something about Kamala Harris caring more about undocumented people than America, and you're now asking me name something that Trump has done. We're not talking about Trump. That wasn't the conversation.
So he's just not going to answer. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing that is because you make an analysis in politics of Democrats, Republicans. You see who's the better candidate. You're saying you wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris. You'd rather vote for Donald Trump because you think that Donald Trump is focusing more on the average person than undocumented immigrants, and you think Kamala Harris is more focusing on undocumented
I did not
immigrants.
say that. You keep saying that phrase, Dean, and I have yet to say that. That's what your last question was based off of, and I have yet to say that.
Why do you
I
keep
say
calling
things
me
about
Dean?
Kamala
Is that
Harris,
purposeful?
and
Is
in
it
retrospect,
purposeful for you to keep calling me Dean?
No, it's not at all. I told you the last debate I had was with Dean.
Okay, so
Respect by it at all, Parker. I apologize. Period. But regarding the Kamala Harris and Donald Trump thing, there is no point where I said anything about Donald Trump caring more or not caring more. I said the fact about the Democrats, Kamala Harris in general, and her stance with the undocumented. I said nothing about Trump. I didn't say I didn't say made a point to say Trump cares more about this than that. I didn't say that. Not that I said. Not that I'm saying that he don't. I'm just saying that that's not the words that come out of my mouth. Why are you asking that question? Why aren't you disputing the fact that Kamala Harris for the past year has focused more about the stance in the situation of undocumented more than she has focused on the stance?
How?
And that's what I'm confused on why we keep going back to Trump. And you just tell me I'm not answering your question.
How?
When I is go ahead.
How is she focused more on undocumented immigrants?
Come on, man. Come on, man. The ICE ranch, you know what I mean? The Dems as a whole, but the ICE ranch, man, trying to get billions and billions, millions and millions funneled to of taxpayer money towards the undocumented, the whole nine, man.
No, what policy?
You know, fighting
what
with
policy?
the Republicans.
What policy for undocumented immigrants?
I'm confused on what you're asking.
Yeah, what policy did she advocate for that gives money to undocumented immigrants?
You lag, brother. You lag.
Yeah, what policy?
You lag. As soon as you pulled the book up, you lag.
What policy did she advocate for that gave money to undocumented
I'm not sure on the
immigrants?
policy, but I didn't say anything about a policy. I said funding.
What
The
funding?
Dems in general.
What funding
Dems
are
in
Democrats in general advocating for to give money to undocumented immigrants?
What the whatever happened in New York when there was a bunch of undocumented getting kicked out of the hotels were getting paid for it, you know what I mean? That whole thing, you know, the hundreds of other things. What do you mean?
So those hotels are statewide policies, and that's for asylum seekers.
On a consistent basis.
Can you listen to what I say without cutting me off once? Like just once.
That was not me at all. That was not me at all. You keep lagging and I keep coming back in.
I'm not lagging at all.
But go ahead, partner.
I was just speaking and then you just cut me off. Okay? So the hotels were asylum seekers, legal immigrants, not undocumented immigrants. Okay? That's statewide policy in New York, not federal policy. So you can't blame Kamala Harris for something that's in the state, and it's also for legal asylum seekers claiming that she's focusing more on undocumented immigrants than people who are in the country as citizens. That is a dishonest argument.
When we watched the Democratic Party for the last 18 months advocate on a consistent basis for the well-being of the undocumented immigrants. And I would say that they've been focused more on the state of undocumented immigrants than the current state of the urban community. And the urban community is at a way more deficit than a bunch of people who are getting kicked out because they're not supposed to technically be here, technically, again, according to the law. Unfortunately, like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of people dying in these streets. Why aren't we implementing martial law in Chicago? Why aren't we? Unfortunately, brother, I know about 15 to 20 people I can call right now. All of them have boxes on the back of their Glocks, brother. You're telling me with your head, but I know, like I told you, 5 to 10 people that have died in the last 8 months over gun violence, but you're smacking your forehead when I tell you that martial law needs to be brought in. These are things that you could never understand, Parker. You just couldn't.
Okay. Trump doesn't have the legal right to apply martial law right now. He just doesn't have the capacity to do that. And I'm sorry to hear that happen.
I wish he did, though. I wish he did.
Let me know when I can speak without interruption. I just genuinely, I don't understand. I literally let you speak without interruption, and then you just constantly interrupt me. Can I please?
I spoke on the fact that you were, every time at the beginning of this conversation, I would respond to something, you would put your hand up and cut me off, Parker. But go ahead, of course.
I did that one time.
No, you did not, Parker. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So again, you're making the argument that we're focusing more on undocumented immigrants than average people within this country, right? You have no argument or even policy that we're advocating for that benefits undocumented immigrants. I've yet to hear the argument that the Democrats have advocated for.
You're asking me the abolishment of ICE. There you go, brother.
Okay. The abolition of ICE doesn't mean you're not doing border enforcement. You can have border enforcement
No. You asked me a question. I asked and answered, brother.
That's not an answer to my question. That's not helping undocumented immigrants.
Huh? Abolishing ICE isn't helping undocumented immigrants. On that note, Parker, I gotta go.
Wow, you're just gonna run away instead of just actually engaging in a discussion with me? Like, wow, that's ridiculous. These people, dude. Like, just the Trump supporters are so insane. Like, I feel like it's every Trump supporter I've been talking to today. The people today have been crazy.